Hey guys, OGalbina here, and I have opinions. Hot takes, if you will, especially concerning Draft League. So, I thought it would be a fun idea to let you guys know which Pokemon I think are the best available in Draft League in each respective type. Keep in mind, this list is subjective, and my word is not the law. Yes, it is. I'm right and you're wrong. Also keep in mind, I will be making this list from a national dex perspective, so Megas and Pokemon not in the Galadex are included. I also won't be repeating Pokemon on the list, so if Venipede is the best bug type, it can't also be the best poison, as broken as he is. Be sure to drop your guys' list in the comments down below, or even make a video about it. I'd love to watch them. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to drop a like and sub to the channel if you're new. I'm on my way to 1,000 subs, and I would really appreciate it if you help us out along that goal. If we get 20 likes in this video, I'll drop a video on what I think the most overrated Pokemon of each type is. And oh boy, do I have some hot takes there. Alrighty, let's jump into it. First off, we start off with the typing most notorious for being the worst in all of Pokemon, Bug. Despite this stigma, there are a ton of bugs who have seen competitive success in the draft scene, but none come close to that of Mega Scizor. This one is an absolute monster with an insane bulk of 70, 140, and 100 on top of one freaking weakness in Fire. Not to mention that Fire isn't even required typing in draft, and non-stab Fire moves aren't always going to pick up the KO on Sizz. This makes Mega Scizor one of the best U-turn pivots in the game. Oh, you thought it was just a defensive pivot? Nope. Base 150 attack with Technician boosted bullet punches. This thing can single-handedly end games even with little to no offensive investment. I also have Volcarona as an honorable mention in the slot, but Scizor just offers so much more to a team than sweeping. Which, to be fair, Volk does do better. This is definitely one of the easier rankings. Speaking of easy rankings, we have Dark next. Urshifu time, baby. You thought I was going to say anything different? Dark fighting is incredibly spammable, especially considering the attacks you're clicking are Wicked Blow in close combat, really high base powered moves. What Urshifu lacks in a great speed tier and defensive utility, it makes up for tenfold in raw breaking power. This thing is the purest wall breaker in the game. Button clicking incarnate. The only things that can reliably check Urshifu are really Fizz-Def fairies, which are pretty few and far in between. Plus the switches into them are so easily telegraphed, you can pretty easily call the switch and you turn out into a strong steel or poison. I don't think this pick should be a shock to anyone, so I won't ramble on any longer. Urshifu single strike is broken. Sorry y'all, another easy one. Dragon. Everyone say it with me. 3, 2, 1, Dragapult. Of course, the best mod in the format had to make an appearance on this list. I don't have much to say outside of what other people have already said a million times. Blistering speed stat, a secondary ghost typing, which is the best offensive type in the game right now. A crazy offensive and utility move pool, the ability to gain momentum with U-turn. There's not much this Pokemon can't do well. Like I said, I won't sit on this one for too long. You already know that Pult is the best mod in the format when allowed. And if you don't think so, I'm sorry, you're wrong. I don't make the rules. Finally, a type with a little bit more debate. Electric. For this one, I struggle between 3 different mons. Zapdos, Tapu Koko, and Zeraora. All have their upsides, and I really think it comes down to personal playstyle and preference, but I had to go with Zeraora personally. Once again, it really comes down to that blistering speed stat of 143. Even faster than the aforementioned Pult. It also has great mixed offensive abilities and can set up with either Bulk Up or Calm Mind, pivot with Volt Switch, has a ridiculously fast knockoff and taunt, and not to mention the most banger set in Substitute Toxic. Zapdos has great defensive utility and a great secondary stab, and Koko functions as an even better pivot than Zero with U-turn, but I still have to give Zeraora the crown for best electric type. The fairy typing was also decently tough, but I ended up going with the mon I'm about to tell you with, because another top tier fairy I had in mind has a secondary typing, where it is far and above the best mon around. So, for fairy, I went with Clefable. Good old reliable. Despite its mediocre stats, I and many other Draft League players can never seem to kill this thing. Magic Guard and Unaware both give it amazing defensive utility as its abilities. On top of this, it has that sweet Gen 1 offensive move pool, as well as reliable recovery in Soft Boiled, Wish, Heal Bell, Stealth Rock, and Thunder Wave to support its teammates. Calm Mind and Cosmic Power are also setup options, or you can even grab momentum with Teleport to grab slow momentum. The utility this thing offers is insane, and you'll pull a matchup or two where you can just set up and win. Definitely the best pure fairy in the format. Those of you who watched my SBT run on the channel should know the answer for fighting. Mega freaking Gallade. One of my personal favorite megas to use, this mon has 0 switch-ins. With that monstrous base 165 attack, very little can take this on. especially in conjunction with this 110 speed tier, which allows it to pace a good majority of the meta. Not even the bulkiest of stall builds can take it on, as it also has access to SD and bulk up for setup. It also has a pretty meaty base 115 SPDF stat, allowing you to find more setup opportunities and pivot into specific special hits. There are some cool things Gallade can do like Will-O-Wisp, T-Wave, and Wish, but 99.999% of the time, you should just be doing what it does best: clicking buttons. Fire was tougher than I thought, mostly due to my raging heat ram bias. As much as I wanted to though, I couldn't justify putting him above Big Victini. One word: V-Create. Or is that two? I don't know. Anyways, Bantini is the thing of every single balanced player's nightmares. But it can also run a plethora of different sets, like physical and special scarf sets, specs, boots for attacks, flame charge weakness policy, and can take on a ton of resist barriers like Shuka and Kolber to beat its checks. Its base 100s across the board give it relatively solid bulk, and its phenomenal offensive typing and coverage make it a menace to switch into. It seems like it can fit onto almost any draft if you can afford it as well. Fun fact number 1, there is only one pure flying type Pokemon. Fun fact number 2, there's also one only correct answer to the best flying type Mon. Fun fact number 3, both of these answers are Tornadus Therian. This thing exemplifies why Regen is by far the most broken ability in the game. This is especially accentuated by the addition of heavy duty boots, preventing Torn from being punished by stealth rocks. This plus U-Turn make Torn the best pivot in the game, much less best flying type pivot. It also throws off crazy fast knocks and taunt with its base 121 speed, and has solid offensive coverage, special and physical, with access to Nasty Plot and even bulk up to set up, break, and even win. Torn is the best pivot, blue piece, and regen Pokemon in the game, making it more than worthy of the title of best flying type. For Ghost, we have a few options, but I settled with Aegislash as my answer. It may have been nerfed and is worse than it was in Gen 7, but that doesn't mean it's not an absolute monster still. Ghost is one of, if not the best offensive typing in this generation. AG is a huge example of why this is true, throwing off massive hits from either the physical side or the special side. It can even find a ton of setup opportunities with either Swords Dance or Autotomize. It's not just an offensive threat though, AG has an incredible defensive typing as well. Ghost and Steel is insane defensively, and while it can't recover its health reliably, King Shield plus leftovers typically keep it very healthy over the long term if played correctly. The offensive and defensive utility makes Aegislash the most complete and best Ghost type Pokemon in my opinion, outside of the aforementioned Dragapult. This one was a no-brainer for me. For Grass, I had to go with Rillaboom. The Grass typing is pretty lackluster in general, and I couldn't think of much better than Big Rilla. Grassy Surge plus Grassy Glide is a potent combination, especially considering the Pokemon that Rilla forces in all get knocked off and are mostly weak to rocks, as they're typically flying and fire types. Once they lose their boots, Rilla can damn near 2-KO all of them with a Choice Band, allowing it to push its own progress, which is so valuable as a wall breaker. It can also SD sweep through teams, or function decently well with an Assault Vest, not to mention the support grassy terrain can give a team with it drafted in mind. I definitely recommend trying Rillaboom if you haven't already. Another toughie here with the ground typing, but I end up settling with Garchomp over other threats like Lando T and Gliscor. The reasons I went with Big Chomp here is 1, its great speed tier in 102, 2, its offensive typing in Dragon Ground, which has little to zero counterplay on paper, and 3, the very slept on defensive utility you get out of this Pokemon with its great natural bulk and ability in Rough Skin. Rough Skin plus Rocky Helmet brutalizes physical attackers in conjunction with hazards, which Chomp can also set out. Not many Pokemon have game-ending ability and great utility. Chomp is one of those. Ice was easy. There are definitely some cool mons like Mamoswine and Weavile, but the only real answer to this question is Kyurem. Talk about a glow-up. This mon popped off in Gen 8, getting access to Freeze Dry to nuke waters, Boots to avoid its Stealth Rock weakness, and Dragon Dance plus Icicle Spear to be a genuine setup sweeping threat. Kyurem got some crazy buffs. That on top of its previous strengths in being ridiculously strong and bulky with access to Roost made Kyurem insanely difficult to prep for. It can just do so many things so darn well. While doing research for this video, it really hit me how little top tier normals there are. An overwhelming majority of them are low tier wish passing mons, which are incredibly important but not meta defining. As much as I wanted to give this slot to Licky, sorry bro, I had to give it to Mega Lock. Lock definitely got nerfed this gen in losing return, but had buffs that more than made up for it in my opinion at least. It gained access to U-Turn for momentum, which is especially potent because bulky psychics are typically used to pivot into Lop, and it also gained close combat for more reliable but still strong fighting stab. It's a great middle ground in between high jump kick and drain punch. If Lop ends up keeping double edge from PLA next gen, it'll only get even better. With an unresisted dual stab and the ability to grab momentum, Mega Lop is amazing in the right player's hands. I fall into the dark side. Galarian Slowking is the best poison type in the draft format. After using it in BBT, by the way, go watch that video. It was really good and we had a cool run. I have seen the truth. The combination of its typing, bulk, coverage, and the best ability in the game in regen make this thing an absolute demon. It can roll with its tried and true AV set in 70% of matchups, spreading passive status damage through Sludge Bombs or Scalds. You can also go Calm Mind or Nasty Plot with Slack Off and a Resist Berry, or even offensive Trick Room sets. This Pokemon can really do it all. You just need to be a creative enough builder to use it correctly. Speaking of Pokemon who can do it all, we have Mew next for Psychic. Getting access to every TM in the game gives you nearly limitless possibilities. Hazard Setter? You got it. Setup Sweeper? What type? It can do it all. Dragon Dance, Swords Dance, Nasty Plot, Bulk Up. It really can't be stopped. Let's all be real though. The best Mew set is Stall Breaker. I'm gonna Wisp, then Taunt, then wear things down with Nightshade, Sacrifice, or Super Fang until either everything is dead or the timer runs out. Mew truly is amazing at so many different things. It's just a matter of finding the correct set for the matchup. For Rock, Mega Diancie was an easy choice. If you're looking for an offensive powerhouse, man oh man, Mega D is your mon. With base 160 in both of its attack stats, have fun trying to switch into this behemoth. It even has great coverage options for would-be Steel-type checks in Earth Power and Mystical Fire. It has fast rocks, Encore, and great utility for an aggressive player and Magic Bounce ability. D can even set up with Calm Mind and Rock Polish, especially if the player elects to stay unmegged, retaining base Diancie's great bulk. He is always sure to exert immense pressure if positioned and used correctly. For Steel, I really wanted to put Heatran, man. I really did. But you can't have a top Pokemon list without Mega Mawile. An absolute Draft League staple, this mon gives balanced players nightmares on a consistent basis. Huge power on top of its base 105 attack stat lets this thing deal out ludicrous amounts of damage with its stabs, plus great coverage and knockoff, Brick Break, Ice Punch, Fire Fang, Psychic Fangs, and many more. It even has Sucker Punch for priority, allowing it to clean up tons of matches with the Swords Dance up. It has a very solid defensive typing as well, on top of Intimidate pre-Mega, allowing it to function decently defensively despite its mediocre bulk. The only real downside of Mawile is its terrible speed tier, but it more than makes up for it by having quite literally zero reliable switch-ins. Last up, we have one of, if not the most important typing in Draft, the Water type. For this, I had to go Tapu Fini. It has incredible bulk as well as Misty Terrain to save it from potential status like Toxic. It has great utility moves like Knock, Taunt, Defog, and Nature's Madness, as well as setup options and Calm Mind and Iron Defense. These two setup moves in conjunction with Draining Kiss to keep Fini healthy is absolutely terrifying to deal with. It can even go with an offensive choice set due to its access to Trick, allowing it to cripple common fat walls and checks. Fini's only downside is its lack of reliable recovery, but smart play and maybe some wishes into it can make this thing legitimately unkillable. So what do you guys think of the list? Keep in mind this is subjective, so my word is not law, even though I like to think in my head that it is all the time. I would love to see what your guys' lists are. Please comment them down below. Like I said, and we'll do the most overrated mod of each typing. I think this was a fun video. I enjoyed writing up all this stuff and kind of looking through and seeing what I really do think is the best, and I would really, really love to read yours, like I said. Comment below as well if you want to see a different video like this, kind of regarding the typings and things like that, if you have any ideas in general content you want to see. Yeah, drop a like if you enjoyed, sub if you're new. I'll see you guys next time. Later.